Well, welcome back, you guys. We're looking at phase changes lesson 2.3 today. And in lesson 2.3, we are doing parts 1 through 4. So let's hop on in. So for the activity number 1, we're going to do our warm up today. And in the warm up, you guys are going to use the modeling tool to show each of Titan's lake claims. You're going to launch that modeling tool right there. And your goal is to show what would cause the methane lake or the liquid methane in the lake on Titan to freeze. So make sure you drag out two substance descriptions and describe the methane. Move the substance descriptions to show when the methane had higher and lower kinetic energy. Make sure you're using the arrows to show how kinetic energy has changed and label those arrows. So again, you're going to take two of these description boxes from the top and you're going to move them onto your boxes here, and you're going to show the liquid methane in Titan and how it's freezing or what caused it to freeze. So you'll need to adjust these to show if they are either higher or lower energy based on the phase that they are. Then the next thing you do is to use the arrow to show how the kinetic energy has changed and label the arrow. So you're going to click and drag one of these arrows over, and you'll need to put the bottom on one line and the top on the other line. Okay, and I can't do that because they're kind of close right now, but we'll do it that way. Okay, put the other one on the other line. And then you're going to pull over one of these two red boxes and drop it right here to show if there's energy being transferred in or transferred out. And remember, when you are done with your model, please hit hand in. And if you go back over to amplify and refresh this page, the image will show up here. At the bottom, make sure you answer this question: if the lake on Titan froze, how would the kinetic energy affect the speed of the molecules found in the lake based on what you just found in your model? Then for the second part, you're going to show evaporating. So you're going to do the same thing, except this time you're showing evaporating instead. So you go into this model, and that will help you to create the evaporating one. And as soon as you hit hand in and come back and refresh this page, it should be right here. Make sure you answer the question about the lake on Titan. How would that kinetic energy have changed or have been affected by the speed of the molecules that are found in the lake? So pause the video now so that you can go ahead and complete your warm up. Okay, moving on to activity 2. So in activity 2, we're going to be interpreting evidence about a phase change. So we have a letter that's been sent to us from our head doctor or chemist at the Universal Space Agency. So based on your investigations, we're closer to determining what happened to the lake on Titan. We've collected additional evidence, which I am now sending to you. After you analyze the new evidence, please send me a written scientific argument about which claim you think this new evidence best supports. Remember to explain your reasoning. So we've been learning about phase changes, energy, and molecules in part so that we can determine which of these two claims best explains what happened on Titan. Either the lake froze or the lake evaporated. So today you're going to complete a card sort activity to interpret and evaluate the evidence that is from Titan or about Titan. So first you need to read some evidence cards. Then you're going to discuss the evidence cards with a partner and sort each under it either supports the claim or it refutes the claim. So you're going to sort each card under the claim that it supports. So claim 1 is the lake froze, claim 2 is the lake evaporated, and you'll put it either under it supports the claim or it refutes the claim based on the evidence and what it goes with. If both claims are supported, you're going to place it in the middle. And sorting the evidence is really going to help you to figure out about this mystery on Titan. But before you begin, I'll use a model to sort out one of the evidence cards. So we have this evidence card here, Titan fact sheet article. So the article that we read. However, because it is so far from the sun, even in the summer, Titan is very cold. Its average temperature is negative 179 degrees Celsius. That is negative 290 degrees Fahrenheit. That is super cold. So we're going to use this next slide to sort out the evidence card A with the background poster that you guys are going to have at your desks. So I think this card shows that it is possible that the lake froze. I know that if this substance could get cold, molecules can slow down enough that they only move in place. Remember, vibrating in place. So I chose to put my card here in that it supports claim 1 freezing. So I put it in the support with claim 1. So if this evidence supported the freezing claim, then I'd put it here. If it if it went with the evaporated claim, I'd put it here. So as you're doing your arguments with your partner, these are some of the starters that you can use to be able to argue back and forth or have this discussion. I think this evidence supports this claim because. So why do you think this piece of evidence supports the claim? Or you can say, I don't think it supports the claim, and tell why. I agree because, I disagree because, and why do you think that? Ask your partner, why do you think that? At this point, you should be looking at part 2 of the lesson and using the questions and the words on the page basically to help guide you through this part of the lesson. Be sure to answer the 2 questions at the bottom. Pause the video here so that you can move on to do that activity in part 2. If you didn't select the claim that best fits the evidence that you have and supports it, please make sure you do so on Amplify on part 2. There are the 2 questions at the bottom that you should be answering as you're doing it. Okay, if you need to pause here to finish activity 2, go ahead. We're going to move on to activity 3. So in activity 3, reasoning about the phase change on Titan. So next we're going to use the reasoning tool to develop our ideas more fully before we write that final argument for Dr. Flores. So if we have a piece of evidence, we need to have a claim and we need to give a reason for using that piece of evidence to back up our argument. So we want to look at the reasoning that we have in order to be able to explain why this evidence connects to the claim. So you want to make sure you always include the reason with your claim that you're either refuting or saying that it goes along with, agreeing with, and the evidence that backs up why that reason goes with that claim. So you're going to complete either the first or the second row of the reasoning tool, depending on which way you go with the evidence, if you're supporting the evaporated or that you're supporting the lake froze. So those 2 claims are listed on the side. So you're going to choose one of these 2, and you're going to fill in the boxes on the left-hand side. So make sure you include the card that you selected as evidence in the left-hand column of your reasoning tool. So you're going to need to just type in the information that's on the card that you chose that will go on to help you support your claim. Okay, let's see. I'm going to move on to the next part. So you're going to hop back into part 3 of the lesson. So as directions said, you're going to use that piece of evidence that supports whichever claim that you think, and you're going to make sure you put it in the correct row down at the bottom. Be sure to include the card on the left-hand column of your reasoning tool, and if you have time, you can pick an extra piece of evidence that you can put in the third row. So either you're supporting the claim that the lake evaporated or that it froze, so you'll type in your information from the card on the left-hand side here, and then explain why that piece of evidence backs up your claim and supports that the lake evaporated or the lake froze. If you have that additional time, then you can do this final one down here at the bottom. So pause the lesson here so you can go ahead and complete activity 3. Okay, so moving on to activity 4. Here's where you're going to write your scientific argument. So you're going to tell Dr. Flores about the lake on Titan. And as you do, you're going to use what you used in the last activity, that reasoning tool, to show the claim and the evidence and how they're connected with each other. It may be helpful to refer back to that reasoning tool as you write. Now remember, as you're doing your reasoning tool, if you write it in complete sentences, it'll be really easy for you to pull it over to be able to put it in your scientific argument. So keep that in mind as you're doing future ones and as you're doing this one now. So you're going to state your claim first, then describe the evidence and use your reasoning to explain. So just like this, the evidence refutes, and you actually have this on card 1 on part 4 of your Amplify lesson. So activity 4, screen 1 or card 1 at the bottom. The evidence refutes the claim that molecules in a substance disappear or no longer exist when a substance changes phase. So that's the stating the claim. The textual evidence states that when a substance changes phase, the molecule's freedom of movement changes, but the molecules themselves stay the same. There's my evidence. The last part, this is important because if water molecules stay the same, they cannot disappear when water changes phase. So this goes along with my reasoning to refute or support my claim. So as you're writing your scientific argument, you may want to use the sentence starters that you can see on card number 2, and you can see right here in front of you to help you with your thinking. You can also use the scientific language word bank below it, which is also on your Amplify screen, so you can use that as well. So you want to write that convincing argument to Dr. Flores and use your completed reasoning tool. Refer to the sample that was written for you in card 1 of part 4, and hopefully that will help you. So this is the end of the lesson. Be sure to make sure that you check out Amplify to see what your next lesson is for today. And if you need any help, please make sure you raise your hand and ask your teacher.